What's the most important fiscal policy you want to see materialize?
Right now, I'm very narrowly defined. Whenever I drive on the roads, the infrastructure sucks.
So you want infrastructure spending?
Well, I want it to do in terms of avionics, bridges. The next thing I don't want to see is a bridge fall down with people on it, because structurally deficient bridges, and that is an easy fix, and it's going to employ a lot of the lower.
How do you play that on the stocks? Like, are you in Vulcan Materials or any of the aggregates? The people that are going to get big government, bridges and roads and highway contracts, or do you have?
But it's also avionics. LaGuardia Airport,
right?
The whole notion of how you connect airplanes with the ground controllers, and there's cybersecurity is part of your infrastructure.
Yes.
Yep. So in terms of, hard rocks, I've always been a hard rock guy. And avionics, it's hard to move a quarry mine. So if you're located in the right spot, you do quite well. Vulcan is certainly one. But just think of asphalt. There's a company in Chattanooga, a small cap stock that's been crushed. They make pavement equipment called Aztec. So there's a lot of ways to fundamentally look at this whole narrowly defined bridges. There's companies that make the grates and so on. This is uncomplicated. Yeah,
you've done this. You've done a better job than most at this over the years. You've just bought this stuff, but you've also pivoted and you've had this health and wellness theme. Given the massive sell-off we've seen in healthcare, has that created a whole new layer of opportunities that maybe you thought you wouldn't get in stuff and that is healthcare related?
The biotechs have been a challenge, but Keith, you ask a very important subject. We as a country have to deal with this because even though our deficit is the lowest as a percentage of GDP, we're going to owe $25 trillion in the next 10 years if we don't do something. And that is, you lose your economic flexibility. It's a disaster. So health and wellness is a subset, but the beginning of health and wellness is, what do you eat? Organic, natural, antibiotic. We like yogurt. So when we look at yogurt, you go, that's just something else. It's a subset of that with probiotics in it. And so what do you benefit from? General Mills, cereal and yogurt.
I love General
So you
Mills.
look at that. Then the next part is diagnostics. How do you anticipate what's going to happen, whether it's testing for your genes and so on. And then you look at body parts. As the population ages and guys want to play hockey and women want to play contact football, you basically need new shoulders, knees, hips. And then you get older, you need eyes, you need hearing because you do a lot of shooting. And there's a lot of dynamics that go on. And then you deal with biotech.
You mentioned real estate and that you're seeing improvement in real estate in the country. You wouldn't have known that by listening to Janet Yellen last week because she sounded quite depressed when it comes to the U.S. real estate market. Is there some sort of disconnect there? I mean,
well, I don't know which part of real estate you're talking about. I'm talking about residential.
She's talking about housing. Yeah, that's exactly what Janet Yellen said.
Within that framework, what parts of the country are we talking about? There's bubbles in Manhattan. When you're paying $4,000 a square foot and you could buy a house for 4 bedrooms and with that kind of a down payment. Then you have segments of the economy like North Dakota where the man camps are just, because of the major shift in drilling. Yeah. So I'm not in the camp that says, when I read the annual report of Lennar and I read the annual report of the stick builders and conventional homes, they have a backlog. They have problems getting clearance.
So you like the home builders?
Yeah, I like Lennar. I like the voting stock, which is selling at a 20% discount from the low vote, which is insane. It's selling at 42. The regular voting stock is like 52. So you buy that and you short the other one. You have a paired trade. There's a lot that goes on in that area.
You mentioned biotechs. Let's talk that for a second because they get crushed, obviously. And it is partly a policy issue because you had that tweet about drug prices. But it's also these stocks had gotten to levels where a lot of people felt that they weren't sustainable given their burn rates of cash. Would you buy biotech right now?
Maria, I love dogs. There are 84 million dogs in the United States. There's 77 million cats. The amount of money being spent on veterinary drugs, which is not third-party pay, is rising.
Is that large pharma that owns the drug companies, or is it biotech? These are two different areas,
well, there's pure plays on what you just said.
No, but the point is
affected by biotech.
Exactly. In other words, you can cut and slice biotechs. I'm not going to buy an ETF. I'm looking at niches. The amount of money spent on cats and dogs, companion pets. Maria, you made a ton of money.
I spend it every week for when I get my little Alabella brew. I don't care.
Per pet
I get Alabella brew,
like
whatever it costs.
She's the top per pet consumption in the country, I think.
It's not third-party pay. You pay. It's so think about generic drugs for pets. These are, you got to be outside.
What's the ticker for that? The best pet play that you have?
There's a whole bunch, and I will give you some. One of the distributors is a company right here in Long Island, does a great job. Henry Schein. There's another one in Minneapolis area, St. Paul, called St.
There's Mayella Bella. She just got a grooming.
Oh, my.
That's right after she got groomed.
You know what?
There she is. My
How do we own
baby.
exposure to Ella Bella's spending or her consumption?
I think that is a really important dynamic. But you know what? These are small niche companies, and that's what we do every day. We try to buy one stock at a time and, deal with the specific companies.